Afternoon, this is Judge Alyssa Perez presiding over the 210th District Court criminal docket for January 25th, 2022. All matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding COVID-19. In addition to that, we are streaming all matters live via YouTube for public viewing. Mr. Pantoja, will you call our next case, please?
Yes, Judge. It's cause number 2020-0D04262, State of Texas versus Ruben Martinez. Announcement to council, please.
King for the state of Texas.
Chuck Shane for the defendant.
And Mr. Shane, do you see your client appearing from the police center?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay, sir, this is Judge Perez. I'm going to be asking you questions about your plea today. So I need to swear you in. If you would please raise your right hand. Sir, do you swear or affirm that any testimony you provide will be the truth and the whole truth?
Yes, ma'am.
You can put your hand down. Thank you. Would you state your name for the record, please?
Ruben Martinez, Jr.
Mr. Martinez, as I mentioned, I'm going to be asking you some questions, the first of which is regarding State's Exhibit number 1. That is, those are the plea papers in this case. Within that document, you're guaranteed certain rights, including the right to remain silent, the right to trial by jury, the right to counsel, the right to confront and cross-examine witnesses, and the right to call witnesses on your behalf and in your defense. Mr. Martinez, do you recall reviewing State's Exhibit number 1 with your attorney and signing that document?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And did you understand everything contained within that document?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Mr. Shane, have you had more than 10 days to prepare a defense in this case?
We have, Your Honor.
And did you explain the plea papers to your client?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay, do you believe he has understood the admonishments, rights, and consequences of giving up these rights by entering a plea today?
He has, Your Honor.
Mr. Martinez, are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you?
Very much so, ma'am.
Great. And Mr. Shane, do you have any reason to believe your client is not presently competent to enter a plea?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Martinez, have you ever been found incompetent by any court?
What does that mean, ma'am? I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
That whether has a judge or a doctor ever declared that you did not have the mental capacity to handle your own affairs or anything like that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Ever been examined by a doctor or psychiatrist who has found you mentally ill?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so based on your testimony, your attorney's representations, and my observations of you, I'm going to find that you are competent to enter your plea today. Sir, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much.
Where were you born?
In El Paso, Texas.
Okay. So the charge against you as originally indicted was a continuance violence against the family. However, I understand through negotiations, you are pleading to the lesser included misdemeanor offense of assault. To that charge, what is your plea? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
And are you making your plea, excuse me, freely and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
I will find you are making your plea freely and voluntarily. Ms. King, would you summarize the evidence, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Were the state to proceed to trial on the indictment, the state would have proven each and every element, the offense charged, continuous violence against the family beyond a reasonable doubt. Judge, the defendant is pleading to 2 years probation, class A misdemeanor, a lesser included offense of assault causes bodily injury to family member. Your Honor, just to bring something up to your attention on the plea paperwork, it states that there's no contact with complaining witness. However, I would like to change that on the record if the court accepts to no offensive contact with complaining witness.
Okay, my notation, Ms. King, just because I'm looking at my scratch work after reviewing the plea paperwork, that it was no offensive contact with the complainant. So that's what I had down.
Perfect. Thank you, Judge. At this time, the state moves to admit Exhibit 1 is the state's plea paperwork. Exhibit 2 is Article 3914 and Exhibit 3 as the indictment.
Mr. Shane, any objection?
Just a clarification, Your Honor. My client is pleading guilty to 2 years deferred adjudication.
Correct.
And then there's no objection.
Okay, so without objection, states 1, 2, and 3 are admitted. And with that clarification, that is your understanding of the plea agreement, Mr. Shane?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Martinez, is that your understanding as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, understand that the plea agreement is not binding on the court. However, if I were to reject it, I would allow you to withdraw your plea. If I follow the plea agreement, you may not appeal this case except on matters raised by written motion and ruled on before trial or by permission of the court. The next document I'm going to ask you about is the one-page document entitled The Trial Court Certification of Your Right to Appeal. It is a document that explains your appeal rights. Because this is a plea bargained or negotiated case, you do not have an automatic right of appeal. Mr. Martinez, do you recall reviewing the trial court certification with your attorney and signing that document?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. Finally, the last document I'm going to ask you about is the motion for deferred adjudication. Mr. Martinez, do you recall reviewing and signing the motion for deferred adjudication?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And Mr. Shane, did you explain to your client both the benefits and detriments of deferred adjudication?
I did, Your Honor.
Mr. Martinez, do you understand that if you violate a condition of deferred adjudication, the court can proceed to sentence you up to the full range of punishment for this offense? Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And are you asking the court to grant you deferred adjudication?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I will find there is sufficient evidence to substantiate a finding of guilt. However, I will not enter a finding of guilt at this time. Instead, I will defer further proceedings and place you on community supervision pursuant to the plea agreement for a period of 2 years. There will be a $4,000 fine, $3,500 of that is probated, 200 hours of community service, drug counseling, urine breath analysis, curfew, TAP screening, anger management, and no offensive contact with complaining witness. Is there anything further, Mr. Shane or Ms. King?
No, Your Honor, we just have the victim impact statement.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Shane?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and go off the record. Do we have our witness already in this room? Is she there?
He's coming on, Judge.
Okay. Is it Ms. Hinojosa? Ms. Hinojosa?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. This is Judge Perez. You're here, I understand, to present a victim impact statement. You may proceed whenever you're ready.
Okay. Well, I just want him to understand that it's not only him that he's gonna go through what he's gonna go through. We have a son. He has to think about him before anything. I mean, we both do. I just want him to realize that I'm not trying to affect him in any way. I just wanted to, for him to realize that what we were going through wasn't right either for my son or for myself.
Ms. Hinojosa, did you have anything else?
No, that was pretty much it. I just want him to understand that I'm not gonna, I didn't do it to hurt him or to damage him in any way or in any situation. We've been together for 8 years. He knows it. We had our ups and downs. We have had a lot of problems in the past years. I can say we did go through domestic violence myself, not only physically, sometimes verbally, sometimes even financially. And I'm trying to work with him with whatever he's gonna go through.
Alrighty, thank you, Ms. Hinojosa. I appreciate your time being here today and best wishes to you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hinojosa. Okay, Mr. Martinez, you have all your conditions. If you have any questions about what you are supposed to comply with, please remain in contact with your probation officer. I don't want to receive any negative reports. Sounds like, everybody seems to be pushing for you to do better. And we will be supervising you to make sure that you stay on track, okay? So thank you for your time, Mr. Shane. Thank you very much for your help as well. You all are excused.
Thank you, ma'am.
Take care.
Hey,
Thank you.
Virtual Center, if we can get the Chan Queen next. Chan Queen.
I think you're good to go, Mr. Martinez. I don't know if there's somebody there that they might be trying to bring somebody else over.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am.
Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Antonio.
Hello, Judge. I was actually going to stop by in the courthouse and see if y'all were, or in the courtroom to see if y'all were there, but
We're not in the courtroom. We're in our own little.
yeah,
isolated space.
I had an in-person. That's why I'm a little late because
Oh, was it next door?
no, it was downstairs. It was in the 120th.
Okay, because the 41st had something in person. So I didn't see anybody, but they told me they were going to do something.
Yeah, so
Oh.
I'm
Staying
in
healthy.
I'm in a jury room. Yeah, I'm trying to stay healthy as much as I can when you're campaigning.
I know, you got to be careful. Omicron just likes to jump everywhere.
Well, I had it in, I spent it Thanksgiving with COVID, so
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
we'll see how this goes. Hopefully I don't pick it up.
Yeah, hopefully it'll all run its course. Hopefully these cases will dwindle down soon, because I'm tired of it, honestly. Jeez.
Oh, you and me both.
Yes, hi, Mr. Ortiz. I think we're gonna queue up Mr. Anchondo's client, and then we'll get to you, Mr. Ortiz. Thank you.
You're getting the client, Judge.
Okay. They are using a different room, right? This doesn't look like the other room.
The setup, it's different now, Judge. They were gonna have individual rooms for the
It
police.
looks like they even have like one of those lights. You see
Yeah.
that circle?
They told me.
Ali, they got fancy over there. I don't even have that here.
I have it. I have to have it in my office. It's too dark in my office. All right. You have to make the lighting right, especially when it's on YouTube. No, you gotta. And then the other thing I learned when I had a hearing, that they took a screenshot of the video, news did, and they put it on there. And I was like, and of course I have my resting B face, and it was there like, so yeah. So now I'm all smiles throughout every hearing. I'm like, yeah.
It's tough. It's tough to maintain the,
I know.
it's not like when we're in person and it's like you only rely on memories, that's all.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
Válgame.
I hope he's there.
I think they're all there, Chris.
They are
Okay.
there, Judge.
They're all there.
Is that your client, Mr. Anchondo?
Yes, Mr. Queen.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chewy. Let's go ahead and get started.
Yes, Judge. It's cause number 2021-0D00761, State of Texas versus Queen. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Christopher Anchondo on behalf of Mr. Queen. We are ready, Your Honor.
And do you see your client appearing from the police center, Mr. Andrew?
I do, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Queen, this is Judge Perez. I'm going to be asking you some questions regarding your plea today, so I need to swear you in. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that any testimony you provide will be the truth and the whole truth?
I do.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Mr. Queen, I'm going to ask you just to speak up a little bit more. It's like kind of like an echo, not an echo, but just some hollow kind of sound. If at any point you can't hear us, also just let me know so we can go back and repeat anything you didn't catch.
Okay.
All righty. Would you state your name for the record, please?
Chan Alonso Queen.
Okay, Mr. Queen, as I mentioned, we're here for a plea. I'm going to be asking you about documents, the first of which is marked as State's Exhibit number 1. Those are the plea papers in this case. Within that document, you're guaranteed certain rights, including the right to remain silent, the right to trial by jury, the right to counsel, the right to confront and cross-examine witnesses, and the right to call witnesses on your behalf and in your defense. Mr. Queen, do you recall reviewing State's Exhibit number 1, the plea papers with your attorney, and signing that document?
Yes, I do.
Did you understand everything contained within that document?
Yes, I did.
Mr. Anchondo, have you had more than 10 days to prepare a defense in this case?
Yes, we have, Your Honor.
And did you explain the plea papers to your client?
I did, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has understood the admonishments, rights, and consequences of giving up these rights by entering a plea today?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Queen, are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you?
Yes. I
Mr.
am.
Anchondo, thank you. Mr. Anchondo, do you have any reason to believe your client is not presently competent to enter a plea?
None whatsoever, Your Honor.
Mr. Queen, have you ever been found incompetent by any court?
No, I haven't.
Ever been examined by a doctor or psychiatrist who has found you mentally ill?
No.
Okay, so based on your testimony, your attorney's representations, and my observations of you, I'm going to find that you are competent to enter your plea today. Sir, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, I am.
And where were you born?
Denver, Colorado.
Okay. So the charge against you in this case is manufacture or delivery of a controlled substance in penalty group 1 in an amount between 4 and 200 grams. It's a first-degree felony. To that charge, what is your plea, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Are you making your plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, I am.
I will find you are making your plea freely and voluntarily. Ms. King, would you summarize the evidence, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Were the state to proceed to trial on the indictment, the state would have proven each and every element of the offense charged, manufacturing or delivering a controlled substance PG1 between 4 grams and 200 grams. Judge, the defendant is pleading to 7 years of deferred adjudication. And at this time, the state moves to admit Exhibit 1 is the state's plea paperwork, Exhibit 2, Article 3914, and Exhibit 3 is the indictment.
Any
No
objection to those?
No objections, Your Honor.
Without objection, states exhibits 1, 2, and 3 are admitted. Mr. Anchondo, is that your understanding of the plea agreement?
Yes, it is.
And Mr. Queen, is that your understanding of the plea agreement as well?
Yes, it is.
Okay, understand that the plea agreement is not binding on the court. However, if I were to reject it, I would allow you to withdraw your plea. If I follow the plea agreement, you may not appeal this case except on matters raised by written motion and ruled on before trial and by permission of the court. The next document I'm going to ask you about is a one-page document entitled The Trial Court Certification of Your Right to Appeal. It is a document that explains your appeal rights. Because this is a plea bargained or negotiated case, you do not have an automatic right of appeal. Mr. Quinn, do you recall reviewing that trial court certification with your attorney and signing that document?
Yes, I do.
Was signed by your attorney and signed by me as well. Finally, the last document I'm going to ask you about is the motion for deferred adjudication. Mr. Queen, do you recall reviewing the motion for deferred adjudication and signing it?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Anchondo, have you explained to your client both the benefits and detriments of deferred adjudication?
I have, Your Honor.
Mr. Queen, do you understand that if you violate a condition of deferred adjudication, the court can proceed to sentence you up to the full range of punishment for this offense? Do you understand that?
I do.
And are you asking the court to grant you deferred adjudication?
Yes.
Okay. I will find there is sufficient evidence to substantiate a finding of guilt. However, I will not enter a finding of guilt at this time. Instead, I will defer further proceedings and place you on community supervision pursuant to the plea agreement for a period of 7 years. There will be a $4,000 fine. $3,500 of that will be probated. There are 500 hours of community service, a $160 fee for the NMS lab, urine and breath analysis, TAP screening, curfew, drug offender education class. Is there anything further, Mr. Anchondo or Ms. King?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing further from the defense, Your Honor.
Okay, we're good to go. Mr. Queen, good luck to you.
I'm sorry?
We're good to go. Good
Oh.
luck to you, sir.
You too. You have a
Thank
good one.
Okay,
Thank
so
you,
if we could get Mr. Gomez. Thank you, Mr. Anchondo. Good luck.
May I be excused?
You may.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Ortiz. Okay, there. I wanted to see a smile.
Hi,
I wanted
Hi
to
there.
see a smile. Hi there.
how are you all?
I can't complain, thank God.
How's
Ms. Rocco,
everything?
you're- Good, Ruben. Thank you.
Good, good.
Okay, so Ms. Rago's handling this one. Okie dokie.
Yes, Your Honor. Sorry, I'm technically in 3 different courts, so I'm glad when you called me, there's a little lull in between it.
Oh, it's busy times. Busy times. Oh, there he is. I was gonna say they're taking a little bit. All right, so is that Mr. Gomez?
Yes.
Ándale, pues, let's go, Chuy. Let's get started.
Yes, Judge. It's cause number 2021-030-0262. State of Texas versus Angel Gomez. Announcement to council, please.
Samantha Rogg on behalf of the state. State's ready, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ruben Ortiz, and by Mr. Gomez. We're also ready.
And Mr. Ortiz, you see your client appearing from the police center.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Gomez, this is Judge Perez. Sometimes the audio can get a little weird, so if at some point you can't hear us, please just wave your hand, let me know so we can go back and repeat anything you don't hear. I'm also gonna ask you if you'll just speak up, keep your volume up so I can hear you as well, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna need you to speak a little louder than that.
Yes, ma'am, sorry.
Okay, sorry, I don't know if you need to get closer. The audio hasn't been great, but I'll let you know if I need you to speak up. All right, let's get started. Ask you questions, so I need to swear you in. Would you raise your right hand, please? Sir, do you swear or affirm that any testimony you provide will be the truth and the whole truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. Would you please state your name for the record?
Angel Gustavo Gomez.
Okay, Mr. Gomez. As I mentioned, I'm going to ask questions about documents you may have reviewed with your attorney, the first of which is marked State's Exhibit number 1. Those are the plea papers in this case. Within that document, you're guaranteed certain rights, including the right to remain silent, the right to trial by jury, the right to counsel, the right to confront and cross-examine witnesses, and the right to call witnesses on your behalf and in your defense. Mr. Gomez, do you recall reviewing State's Exhibit number 1 with your attorney and signing that document?
Yes.
Did you understand everything contained within that document?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ortiz, have you had more than 10 days to prepare a defense in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you explain the plea papers to your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has understood the admonishments, rights, and consequences of giving up these rights by entering a plea today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Gomez, are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you?
Yes.
And Mr. Ortiz, do you have any reason to believe your client is not presently competent to enter a plea?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Gomez, have you ever been found incompetent by any court?
No, ma'am.
Ever been examined by a doctor or psychiatrist who has found you mentally ill?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So based on your testimony, your attorney's representation, and my observations of you, I'm going to find that you are competent to enter your plea today. Sir, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
And where were you born?
Here in Texas.
In Texas. Okay. The charge against you, I think, was originally an aggravated assault causing serious bodily injury, but I understand through negotiations, you are pleading to the lesser included misdemeanor offense of assault. So to that misdemeanor charge of assault, what is your plea? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Are you making your plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
I will find you are making your plea freely and voluntarily. Ms. Rago, would you summarize the evidence, please?
Yes, Your Honor. If the state of Texas were to proceed to trial, the state would prove beyond a reason that on or about the 20th day of December 2019, the defendant, Angel Gomez, did then there intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly cause bodily injury to William Grajeda Weber by striking William Grajeda Weber about the face or head with the hand of the defendant. Paragraph B, the defendant did then and there intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly cause bodily injury to William Grajeda Weber by stomping William Grajeda Weber about the face or head with the foot of the defendant. Paragraph C, the defendant did then and there intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly cause bodily injury to William Grajeda Weber by kicking William Grajeda Weber about the face or head with the foot of the defendant. At this time, the state moves to enter into evidence States Exhibit 1 and 2 if there's no objections, Your Honor.
Any objection, Mr. Ortiz?
No objection, Your Honor.
And 1 is plea papers, 2 is the 3914, Ms. Rago?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So without objection, States Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. What is the plea agreement?
Your Honor, it's 15 months deferred adjudication, a $500 fine, 100 hours of community service. UABA cannot associate with any other gang members, no contact with complaining witness, William Weber.
Hold on the gang member thing, Your Honor, my client has no gang affiliation or anything like that, Your Honor. So I don't know why that's in there.
Well, it was signed off on. I saw two notations there. Hold on, Mr. Ortiz. I saw 2 notations. One was not associating with gang members and then placing him on the gang caseload. So
well, I don't know about that. I think we need to go back then, Your Honor, on that, because throughout the discussions, Your Honor, throughout the plea negotiations, it's very clear that he was not a gang member. There's no gang affiliation. There's no evidence of that, Your Honor. And so I don't know why he's going to be put on a gang.
Carla,
so I guess, Your Honor, can we retract that then, Your Honor? We need to revisit
Hold on
that.
a second. Let me ask probation something. Ms. Pineda, with respect to being placed on the gang caseload, is that something that they get screened to be placed on gang caseload, or is it something that is just boom ordered and therefore they are part of the gang caseload?
Your Honor, it will have to get screened. And then they'll once it's screened, then we notify if it does qualify or not. But just so the court is aware as well, Mr. Gomez does reside in New Mexico. So the case was going to go through interstate regardless for transfer. So I'm not sure what how New Mexico would screen it, or what their process is to screen it as well.
So I'll tell you this, Mr. Ortiz, this is where I'm at on this, because it's actually something that they screen for. And obviously you can, stop the plea if you don't want to go forward. But what I am going to do is going to have him screened. Now, whether there is a correlating process in New Mexico, I don't know. But because it's just screening, I'm going to order that. So I don't know what you want to do on that. Do you want a breakout room with your client?
Well, no. I mean, I think Ms. Rago can just take that off. And I mean, we've all discussed this case already. We all know it's no gang affiliation. I don't know. I mean, I guess that was part of the original, recommendation.
Yeah, it's on the plea papers.
I understand that. I understand that, Judge. I get it. I just
Okay,
reviewed
well,
it right
if
now
you don't
myself.
want to go, if you don't want to go forward with the plea, then we can reset it for another time.
Yeah, I think we do that because I'd like that off that plea agreement.
Okay. All righty.
Unless Ms. Rob can agree to do it right now.
We've always indicated on the rec, it was going to be the gang caseload with it. For screening, we're involved because we're BPU with it as well. So that's why our concern with it. So at this time, no, you've indicated.
Okay. I'll just speak to a supervisor then.
Okay,
Let's
go
that
Okay,
route.
we don't have an agreement. Thank you for your time. Good luck
Thank you,
to you,
Judge.
Mr. Gomez. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I think that's our